Welcome back to Code. Last time, we did nothing but count. 2 symbols, 6 of them in a row, and we found 64 different patterns hiding in that little space. More than enough for a whole alphabet. But that was a game played on paper, numbers in the dark. Tonight, that same idea walks out into the world and lands in the hands of a real person. A boy in France 200 years ago. He lost his sight as a small child, and he wanted, more than anything else, to read. Not to be read to read. With his own hands. His name was Louis Braille, and the code he built is still under the fingertips of millions of people. Right now, tonight. This is Braille. Here is his whole idea. A little grid you can feel. 2 dots across, 3 dots down. 6 places in all. And every one of those 6 places is a simple yes or no. A bump you can feel with a fingertip, or a smooth, flat space where a bump could have been. Raised or flat. Does that sound familiar? It's the flashlight all over again. On or off. Dot or dash. The very same two-way choice, just holding still on paper, waiting to be touched. So how many different cells can 6 of these make? We already know how to answer that. 2 choices, 6 times over, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 64. 64 little patterns, and you can tell every one of them apart with a single fingertip. The alphabet only needs 26. Room to spare. Now you could just hand those 64 patterns out at random. 1 for A, 1 for B, and so on. No rhyme, no reason. But Braille was far cleverer than that. He built the alphabet like a little machine, in tidy rows of 10. Watch the first 10 letters, A through J. Every single one of them lives up in the top 2 rows. The bottom pair of dots stays flat, untouched. 10 neat patterns, all up top. Now here's the lovely part. The next 10, K through T. Take those first 10 again, and just switch on one more dot. Down in the bottom left. That's the whole trick. A becomes K, B becomes L, C becomes M. The same shapes, walking on down the alphabet, each wearing 1 extra bump. And the final stretch, you add 1 more still. A whole alphabet, folded out of a single repeating rule. Not a scramble, a pattern of patterns. But here is where it gets beautiful. 64 patterns is plenty for the letters. But what about numbers? What about a capital letter, a comma, a question mark? All of a sudden, 64 doesn't feel like nearly enough. So Braille did something that we still do, everywhere, today. He invented a code whose only job is to change the meaning of the codes around it. Watch closely. Here's the pattern for A. But first, I'll set a special little cell in front of it, a signpost. And all it says is, what comes next is a number. And now that very same A isn't an A at all, it's a 1. B turns into 2. C turns into 3. Nothing about the letters changed. We only changed how they're read. Want a capital? There's a signpost for that too. Set it down. And the next letter stands up tall. Now stop and feel how big this is. One code, reaching forward in time, reshaping everything that comes after it. And you are holding one, right now. It's the Shift key. It's caps lock. It's the button that flips your phone from letters to numbers. Every last one of them is Louis Braille's idea, a code that bends the meaning of the next. There's one more move here, and it points straight at the future. Reading by touch is slower than reading with your eyes, and a book written in these dots grows thick. One ordinary novel can swell into a whole shelf of heavy volumes. So Braille let a single cell do more work. 1 pattern, standing in for an entire common word, and the for a whole word, pressed down into 1 touch. Others became shorthand for little chunks of letters, so your fingers had less ground to cover. And think about what that actually means. The same 6 dots might be a letter, or a number, or an entire word. And which one it is depends on what came just before. The code has a memory now. The meaning isn't only in the pattern, it's in the context. And that idea, that a signal can mean different things depending on what surrounds it, is one of the deepest ideas in all of computing. And here it already is, in a little field of bumps that you could read in the dark. So look at what this really is. Strip away the paper, strip away the fingertips, and every cell is just 6 little switches, each one on or off. That's binary, pure binary. The first code in our story a human reads directly, by hand, and underneath it is nothing but yes and no. We keep saying on and off, a flash, a click, a signal. But what is that really? Next time we crack open the flashlight and meet the thing that has carried every one of our codes: electricity.